You got your shitting pants on.
Because you are about to shit your pants.
Take the bass line out. Here go.
Down.
Let it bump though.
Hey everybody, welcome to The Big Picture. I am Michael Sargent. I'm your host. Lucky you. Well, guess what? That opening just cracked me right up. You know, I watched an Austin Powers movie the other night and watched Dr. Evil sing that, and I thought, you know, that's just hilarious. Really hilarious. But I decided to use it this week because, first off, I wanted to congratulate the Buffalo Bills on the drought being over. Congratulations, Buffalo. It was really awesome to see you guys get into the playoffs. Of course, you had all the help in the world from Cincinnati, who took out Baltimore. But I kind of predicted, you know, what would end up happening. And it was great. You know, a lot of people were hyped up about it. You know, Buffalo made it to the playoffs. Yay. Oh, great. Super. Wonderful. Okay. But here's the problem. Did they really deserve to be in the playoffs? That's the question you got to ask yourself. Then again, you may not want to ask that question because you come off as a douchebag by doing so. My whole thing on Buffalo making the playoffs, and this is just my opinion, and trust me, my opinion obviously doesn't mean crap. You know, douche squat, horse pucky, none of it matters, okay? But I don't think the Bills should have made it to the playoffs. Here's why. They were never good enough all season to actually beat anybody who mattered. What made anybody think that despite all the hype and a little bit of the trash talking that went on, that our Buffalo Bills would go to the playoffs and be able to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars? I knew it wasn't going to happen. And what's great is I have been listening to the local talk shows, you know, speak about this, and they're right in a sense. The drought is over. You know, years and years and years of not making the playoffs, not being good enough to make the playoffs. And this year, they got in. Congratulations, Buffalo. Thank you, Andy Dalton, for your play to put our Buffalo Bills into the playoffs. Man's game. Man's game. All I can really say is I listened to the radio today, and I guess, yes, Buffalo, you do have something to be excited about because you have the draft, you have free agency, and all that's coming up. It's going to be interesting to see what the powers to be at One Bills Drive come up with to make the Bills better than what they were this year. There's absolutely no doubt. And it pains me to say this because I really had hoped that this guy would have been successful. Tyrod, stay on with the Bills. You're not going to start anywhere else. Stay with the Bills as a backup quarterback, if that's an option. I think you would play a very nice role here as a backup quarterback. Mr. Peterman, I don't think you have the skill set to play in the NFL. So there's always barber school. I think maybe, you know, or the CFL. I'd give the CFL a shot. Just a thought. That's just from me. Like I said before, my opinion, it doesn't matter. So, I've been having a lot of random thoughts lately, and I thought, how cool would it be to record my random thoughts and start to play it on this show? We'll call the segment Mike's Random Thoughts. Maybe I will. I'm considering it. But the opening segment this week, I did want to discuss your Buffalo Bills. And I think, I'm thinking that, maybe they got the coach now that can really do something, provide a entertaining product on the field. But if you listen to the past show, I still said, in a past show, I had talked about bringing in Johnny Football and Tim Tebow. I still think that would be pretty entertaining, especially if they can't get a quarterback during the draft this year or acquire a good one through free agency. I know our local talk shows do a lot of, jabbing about this, that, or the other thing. But there's something I think that could really work in Buffalo, especially if this particular quarterback had the receivers to work with. Lord knows he's got a running back. If LaShawn McCoy is back next year, that guy's a monster. He's a player. I think it would be really cool if he stays, okay? Which I don't know how long they got him on contract, but it would be really cool if he did stay. I would really like to see Buffalo make a play. If they can't get a quarterback in the draft, go get Eli Manning. I think that guy's got a lot in the tank still. And I really do think that Eli Manning could be the quarterback that could at very least change the quarterback culture here in Buffalo. Okay, bring Eli in. Let him play his last 3 years or his last 4 years as a Buffalo Bill. Who knows? You may get to the Super Bowl with him. Hell, he's won 2, and he's beaten the Patriots doing it. He's got the Patriots number. He always has. Think about it. Eli Manning. Get a couple of receivers. You might be able to really make a deep run in the playoffs next year. Maybe even a Super Bowl. Who knows? Just my thought, but like I said again, that is my opinion. Unfortunately, my opinion doesn't mean crap. But I've been sitting here thinking about it, and I thought, this would really be interesting. It'd be entertaining. I think it would be really cool. And it would be much better than listening to, let's say they don't do anything. People were really excited this year when the drought was over and people made the playoffs. And could you just imagine, like next year, they don't make the playoffs? Do you know what people would be saying in the stands? Oh, no, you're kidding me. This ain't right. Do you follow me here?
Oh, no! We suck again!
So all I'm really saying about that is be ready. Because next year, I don't know if this is going to get any better. It's the Bills. Let's just wait it out and see what happens. All right, I got to take a little break here. We'll be back in a minute.
I'm not kidding. I got a crap on deck that could choke a donkey.
Never again.
Mom, where's the picture of my touchdown from last week?
Oh, here you go, honey. Just scroll to the left.
Why are your parents wrestling? And why is your dad handcuffed? He looks scared. Scroll to the right!
God. Sorry. I farted.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, I had to make my daily contribution to global warming. Okay. All right, so next thing that I want to touch on here is kind of like a little combination of last week and something that, I found just a little bit on the humorous side. Do you remember when Donald Trump had his inauguration, and there was all this controversy about the people that were there and how it was the lowest turnout and all this other, garbage that the media was spewing out there. Well, I do, and I to this day, I still find it kind of funny. But what I thought was really hilarious during all of this was his inauguration speech. And do you remember when he sat there and he, had, like ripped up on all the liberals and all the things that they'd done to the American people, and how he was going to change all that? And he pretty much is working on that agenda. Thank God. All right. So I'll tell you what I think is funny about the entire situation was when he sat there and, called out the media, called out the liberals, and told them that, this historic day, this isn't just a, transfer of power from one administration to the other. This is a transfer from one administration back to you, the people. To me, that's like the greatest Bane line out of Batman that I ever saw. And I mean, I think it was great. I think it was really great. So, in the spirit of that, we decided to play a little bit and put a couple audio mixes together for that. And we'll drop that here in just a second. Just basically because I think it's pretty funny. I think it's funny that, the media outlets, we talked heavily about global warming in the last show, and everything that, they the liberal media and the liberals refer to as what's bad and their agenda. Hey, it's funny because the same people that told you that global warming was a thing are the same people that told you Donald Trump would never be the president. And here he is. So what I think is funny is just Donald Trump's take when he did his inauguration speech and just really laid these people out. It was awesome. Have a listen to this.
We take
The USA
from the corrupt, the rich, the oppressors of generations who have kept you down with myths of opportunity, and we give it back to you, the people.
Dilly dilly.
And to top all this off, this week we have the great shithole controversy. Many of you know that there's been a lot of talk about immigration. Immigration is a bit of a problem here in the United States, especially with everything that's gone on recently. If you speak out against immigration, you are bastardized for, with all sorts of names, Islamophobia, just you name it, they have a name for it. So what I think is interesting here is they talked about Haiti and Africa and these countries, the immigrants that were coming to the United States. I really don't want to say that the people coming here were bad people, because I don't think that's the case. But President Trump made the statement about, why are we letting so many people in from these shithole countries? Now, there's controversy whether or not he actually said that. He probably did. That would sound like Donald Trump. But, of course, the media goes into, slam mode, and Donald Trump is completely criticized for it. Look, everybody's seen pictures online. And is Donald Trump really wrong? Are these places like jewels of their area? No, they're not. They are shitholes. He's right. He didn't tactfully handle, calling them what they were, other than being quite blunt about it and saying they're shitholes. So now it's amazing to me. All the backlash, all the outrage about Donald Trump calling these places shitholes. Now you've noticed I've said shitholes about 20 times since I, started saying this. And honestly, I mean, are we really talking about this as a political point? I mean, is this for real? I guess I don't understand that. Does not make a lot of sense. I think it's laughable at best. So, anyway, let's get over this real fast. We need immigration reform. We have to protect our country. And the liberals, they all need to just shut up, go get a job, go back to work, and stop criticizing the president for every breath he takes. Because this is not going to be overly productive for anybody in this country. It's a joke. We have an opportunity here to make the country a much better place. I'm sorry, despite what anybody might say or, disagree with, it was not a good 8 years under President Obama. You had a bunch of society people, these politicians think that they're, part of the social crowd. And honestly, I mean, if you really look at the behavior and the actions, and you still see it to this day, especially like with people like Governor Cuomo, he feels he's an elitist. We the people are here to serve him. It's not the other way around. We are here to serve him. Our tax dollars are here to serve him. None of them, Republican, Democrat, liberal, conservative, it doesn't really matter. None of them really have a clue about business and what's smart and what's not smart. Politicians look at your tax dollars as an unlimited, very deep wallet, and they will spend your money and not think twice about what they spend it on. That's the cold hard facts. That's the truth. If you don't believe that, look at the mandates with Obamacare. Look at the people out there that say, I wish I could get Obamacare. They can't afford it. Why can't they afford it? Because the Affordable Care Act was never intended to be affordable. It's simple, really. It just depends on whether or not you would like to open your eyes and see how simple that really is. Enough about politics. I got a topic I want to talk about with the remaining time I have on the show today, and it's about parenting. With my background, well, not so much my background, but the history of what myself and my family has gone through, and the aftermath of everything, I'm going to offer a piece of advice to young couples who get married and really have it kind of together. And let's not look at it from a parental standpoint of having it together. Let's just say you're a young couple, you have a child, you both work, you both have decent incomes, and you both make good decisions. You don't live high on the hog, you don't extend yourself beyond your means. You're doing things that, together make sense. People that are like that, which I like to call, productive human beings in society, I'd like to offer you all a piece of advice. Move as far away from your parents as you can. I know that sounds kind of crazy because you'd like to keep family together, and that's always great when you can do that. But when you come from a certain background, and let's not really go into specifics as far as backgrounds, but one of the hardest things for parents to do is to ever admit that the way they raised their kids were wrong. Now, we can look at things and say, yes, we've raised kids, we made mistakes along the way. There is no guidebook, although some people would say that there is. There is no guidebook for raising children. One of my issues with all this is there are parents out there that don't feel their own kids are capable of raising kids. Excuse me. They never seem to forget that. They have a mindset that, they always look at their kids as kids, stupid kids, or, just, assholes. Their children are assholes. Prime example is, my experience. Although I've done pretty well, granted, I'll come right out and say it, I have made mistakes. But all in all, we've done the best that we could for our kids. But I can tell you this. There's a lot of problems, and there always has been, in relationships, especially with parents. And what I see is this is not the 1950s and 60s. It's a very dangerous world out there. Things are an awful lot different than what they were when your parents were raising you or me. Unfortunately, however, grandparents, as they're so put, don't seem to understand that. And what ends up happening is parents try to teach their children about responsibilities and repercussions for actions, trying to think things through, educate themselves to make very good decisions. Well, that gets taken away by grandparents. To be completely honest with you, I have 2 children. Neither one of them live in my home. But they don't pay rent where they do stay. They're allowed to do things that really aren't, it's really not smart decisions. And what it does is it creates hostile kids towards their parents because their parents still hold on to what they believe is right and wrong, but the children believe in something completely different. So, young couples out there, if you got your shit together, you're going to have kids, there is absolutely nothing wrong with moving to a new area and creating your life away from your parents, who will try to tell you how to raise your kids, who will feel that you're wrong every step of the way. And they will tell you things like, it's your fault. They will tell you things like, you don't know what you're doing. You treated your kids like shit. Because that's all they can see. And then again, maybe that's all they did when you were being brought up. I could go into some stories here about things that went on in my childhood. But the reality of it is, they're in the past. They don't matter. And I don't dwell on the past. I focus on the future. I have goals. I have aspirations. I have dreams. It's unfortunate that my dreams are not the same as my parents. I'm very sorry that maybe I did not live up to my parents' expectations. They kind of call this the circle of life. But a key factor in changing certain things is to understand history, understand the environment that you live in. If you learn something from history, and let's be real with this, the reason why we take history in school is because you never know who the next world leader is going to be. You never know who the next CEO of some major business is going to be. But you're taught history, first off, so you can learn history. But history's primary purpose is to keep people from repeating the mistakes from the past. Some people would disagree with me on that. But someone who was a lot smarter than me told me that years ago. And it kind of sunk in. I don't know everything there is to know about history. I wasn't that great of a student when it came to history, unless it was a topic that I was extremely interested in. You know, focus. It's all about focus. I can tell you this. From a historical standpoint, when you look at the mistakes that have been made in the past, and you see those same mistakes being made again, and you can't do anything about it, that's when things have to be looked at on a fundamental level, you know, on the base level of things. And that's where you start creating change. Young people, get married, have children, start your life somewhere else. Seems harsh, seems cruel, but you'll be a lot happier if you do. Maybe next week we'll talk a little bit more about this topic. And I'll bring some very harsh, simple realities to the program. Give you a tour inside of the mind of one Michael Sargent And maybe people can understand why there's some things that I feel so strongly about and why I'm so passionate about other things. And I said that word that I hate, passionate. It's not a question of being passionate. It's more of a question about doing something, creating something, really understanding it, feeling it. I guess you can call them objectives. Anyway, we're at the end of the program, and I just want to say thanks everybody for listening. I would like to mention the GoFundMe program for the Opioid and the Ugly Project. You can find out about that on my Facebook page. Just look me up. Type my name in. It'll come up on Google. You should be able to find everything you need. Until next week, God bless. Everybody enjoy their week. I'm out.
Oh, no! We suck again!